They just slid this lease renewal paper in my door, and who finna pay $2,000 for a one-bedroom? This is not New York. Who finna move over here? The president? Why did my rent go from $1,700 to $2,000? That's a $300 jump. Y'all were out of your mind. I was gonna be okay if they went up a little 50, a little twanky-panky. Y'all gonna go on $300? It ain't like the toilet got its own dookie room. It ain't like the shower head is on top of the shower. Ain't got no rainforest shower head or nothing. It's carpet. Carpet in my room. Carpet.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You gonna pay it or you gotta go. I'm trying to tell you, renting isn't cheaper. But I know there's some of you out there that get in the comment section that tell me, how dare you try to get people to buy houses in this season? And how dare you push home ownership? Well, obviously y'all don't watch the channel because Rob don't do none of that. What I do is I educate those of you that want to get onto the housing ladder and help those of you that are on the fence with trying to choose if renting is the option for you opposed to buying. That's what we do over here on this channel. So today we're going to continue in that spirit, and I want to point out several hidden costs, if you will, that you pay as a renter that you might not even consider or understand until you get a renewal like the young lady we just saw gets, and then you get all reactionary. Remember, reacting is associated with poverty mindset. Proactivity is associated with wealth mindset. So we want to give you that proactive mindset this morning to help you determine if and when you need to get onto the housing ladder. For those of you that don't know, my name is Robert, and on this channel, we simplify the home loan process. Let go. Now, I conducted a poll on the channel. Shout out to everybody in the community that participated. But the question was, what is it that you don't like about renting? And I think you guys can see what the winner is, that prices go up every year. And I try to tell you guys, those of you that constantly tell me that renting is the cheapest that you'll ever pay as housing is concerned. And I call BS on that one, because renting real estate is a business, and the goal is to increase either the value of the asset for multifamily or to increase revenue. Okay. And so as you can see from real people that have taken this, 53% are saying that they don't like the most that prices go up every year. Okay. And then the second thing is feeling that you're paying off someone's mortgage. That's typically the inflection point when folks decide, hey, I want to own my own time and space because I don't want to participate in renting anymore. So as I stated, I want to go over 6, maybe 7 things, fees that get passed on to you renters that you may not even be aware of. And then after you've watched the video, you can continue making the best decision for you and your family in determining if you want to continue paying someone else's mortgage or if you want to move forward with yours. I've enlisted the help of some TikTokers to help me make the point. So let's get into it.
Streaming TV. So she was surprised to receive a letter from the landlord of her mobile home community explaining everyone is now required to sign up for Spectrum Internet and cable.
They would be billing us $70 a month.
When she said she didn't want to switch,
I asked for an opt-out clause, and they said it was a mandatory fee.
it doesn't feel right.
I don't think anybody should be forced to pay for something that's not a necessity.
How much she pays for internet and streaming TV. So she was surprised to receive a letter from the landlord of her mobile home.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about are mandatory fees. And as you can hear there in the video, she was hit with a mandatory internet service provider fee that she couldn't opt out of. So mandatory renter fees are one of the things that I want to address that a lot of you renters don't talk about. Maybe some of you guys are still in single family resident homes, and might not be applicable to you there. But regardless, a lot of you guys are being hit with technology and or service package fees that the landlord is passing on to you. Now, my question to you is, why is that? Why do you think that's the case? You're right, because it's a business. And those of you that have the mindset that I don't want to pay for any maintenance, I don't want to have any, fuss, I don't want to be bothered, I just want to pay the rent and someone else take care of everything else. Well, trust and believe that good business owners are going to figure out how to increase the revenue and or the value of the property. Here is one of those ways: mandatory technology or service package fees. Any of you out there, have you experienced this if you're renting? Am I hitting the nail on the head or am I missing the mark? Get down in the comment section and let me know. Now, the next video, we're going to talk about convenience. Shout out to the homie Kai. If you're watching, shout out to you. But this is where I heard this first. He said, Rob, convenience kills. And you know what? He's right. Convenience is killing a lot of your pockets, a lot of your will and desire to get out, get up, get out and get something, and you don't even know it. But let's let the video explain. Check it out.
Now, I know we talk a lot about paying the rent and the rent being high, but how do y'all pay y'all rent? Because one thing I never could get with, the fact that we get in charge a service fee just to pay these people. And half the time, if we being honest, you can't even really pay them because of the fee that they charging you, because y'all taking the last $10. Being so serious, y'all don't know how many times in the past years ago when I had just enough for the rent money, and now I'm like, okay, so I gotta choose between going to get this money order. The bank probably gonna charge me, yeah, and paying out my account. And if I pay out my account, it's gonna charge me a fee. And then even if I leave it in the account and do an e-check, I'm gonna get charged because it's gonna be late. Boy, America's so greedy. America is so greedy. And I'm talking about America greedy with.
Yeah, that's right. You heard her. You got to pay a convenience fee. Again, it's a what? It's a business, right? It's a business. So how many of you out there are experiencing convenience or portal fees where now you have to pay? Okay, you have to pay. And you know what? Even as a homeowner, right? When I pay my homeowner association dues, if you want the convenience of using the portal and paying digitally, there's a fee. Okay. Now, some of you guys, a lot of you guys don't even know how to write checks anymore. Why do you think that's the case? Why is this? That some of these things that we used to learn and do, right? Like receive physical paper mail and read the bill, writing out a check, those things don't cost. Or if you do go digitally, being able to draw out of a physical account doesn't have fees for now. But it's a business, guys. Once they get everybody on the same platform, okay, you got to pay the man. So this is another fee as a renter that you might not be calculating, and it might not be on the radar until the time, like the very first video, you get that lease renewal, and then you start reading stuff because your rent went up $300 and you gonna pay or you can't stay. Respectfully, right? Respectfully. And so we're gonna continue this party. We're gonna move on. But before we do, are you guys seeing convenience pay fees in your lease agreement? And if you haven't read it, go check it out. See if that's the case. But if that is, that's another cost of renting that you may not be considering. Let's continue.
Good morning. Come with me to get breakfast from my apartment complex because y'all, I gotta tell y'all the story. So my rent went up in my apartment And they starting to charge an amenity fee now. So my rent went up like $200, and they charging the amenity fee. Y'all think I ain't finna use these amenities? Y'all want to charge me an amenity fee? Say no more. So they texted us yesterday and they said, "Oh yeah, we got the biscuits. We got biscuits down here. We're gonna have breakfast for y'all. We're gonna have." Say no more. Even if it's McDonald's, I'm coming down there to get it. And I'm gonna give it to the homeless lady. I'm using every amenity they got. I'm talking golf simulator. I'm talking business office spaces. I'm talking about using the printer on up. I'm talking about I'm going to be renting the spaces like I have a whole business and a staff to attain to. You know how they have the business office spaces where you can have a meeting. I'm going to be in there having me a meeting with myself and the Lord. And yeah, that's just going to be what it is. And I'm going to the golf simulator. I don't even know how to play golf, but I will be golf simulating. I'm going to be at that pool like it's my pool this summer. Because y'all want to charge me a fee every month, I'm going to be using everything that y'all do. I'm going to get my money.
Shout out to you, young lady. Good for you. You paying for it. Use it, right? But just read the service terms, because you might not be able to use it like you think you can, but you gonna pay for it. You see, this is aligned with the last video, convenience, right? You want everything convenient. You don't want to do nothing. I don't want to be held accountable for nothing. Well, guess what? You're gonna have to pay. You know what? I did a little research. I was like, you know what? Let me go out and look at my local market and see what's going on. So look at the brochure. Isn't that purdy? Look at y'all don't know about cardstock, but this is heavy, right? When I first showed it to my daughter and my wife, they're like, "Ooh, this is nice." It is nice, right? It exudes quality, right? Look at some of the pictures, right? See the dog, see the family, you're having fun, might meet your future spouse or what have you, right? But all of those things come with a cost. And all I'm saying, guys, all I'm trying to paint the picture on is this. It costs. It costs for you to own a home, and it also costs for you to rent. And it costs more than you think it actually does. So the video that the young lady just went over, just so we can be sure, I want to be sure you understand what fee she's paying. It's called an amenity fee, an amenity, the cornhole toss, the pool, the fire pit, the gym, right? The business center, the printer, right? All those things are cost, and they're traps. I'm gonna get to that here in just a minute. But they're a cost, and you're not living for free. That's the point I'm trying to make. You decide if you want to buy or not. I'm just trying to show you renting is not as inexpensive as most of you guys think it is, pardon me. And so let's recap. Let me slow down. So technology or service fees, convenience fees to make your payment, amenity fees or subscriptions that you have to pay for the amenities, if you use them or not. So now, tee this one up before we get into it, but insurance, right? A lot of landlords now are requiring that you have insurance for their property, but you're the renter. Let's check it out.
I've never felt more welcome in adulthood than now, because I just got lost $150 to an apartment complex because they added Rent Plus on 4 months of my days, and they said I have to opt it out and I'm not able to get a refund on it. So I paid $40 there. Okay. Didn't realize, right? Barely till 7 months into our lease. And then they canceled the renter's insurance they had, the company they had before, and they got a new one. And I didn't know. They did apparently send out notices, but I didn't know because I was with the policy that they had put me on when I first moved in. And I lost over $100 there because there's nothing they could do about it because it's different.
So yeah, young lady, I apologize that you had to experience that adult moment. But a couple of things that you said, okay? I didn't realize, or I didn't know. And a lot of you guys don't realize and you don't know until the cost goes up. But your ignorance is not an excuse. It's not a get out of jail free card, if you will, for the cost that you have to pay. So with everything that I just said, seriously, look at your lease. Go pull out your lease and read it. Understand. Pay attention to these digital mailboxes that you have where they're sending you stuff, because they have to let you know. And most of you have signed without reading the terms of service. I digress. Insurance, right? Well, why do we have to have insurance? Because you guys don't want no responsibility, right? And in my experience, this is what I find. When you don't pay for nothing, you don't care about the lights being on. You don't care about your cat or your dog defecating and urinating on everything, right? Because I just called the landlord. Well, I'm trying to tell you, the landlords are making you pay for it. You just don't realize it. You just didn't know until that point where the price meets whatever that number is, your point of diminishing returns. And you're like that first lady, what the? We don't live in New York City. It's coming to a city near you. Even those of you that are racing to the bottom, trying to find these enclaves in some of these states where you can live for $200 a month. Well, guess what? All of the rest of the folks that have your mindset, they on the internet and they coming. It's called competition, right? But renting is the least you'll ever pay. I get it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just going off of what the video is saying. And to balance it out, it costs money to own a home, but it also costs money to rent. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Let me show you guys something. Check this out. So let's take a look at this comment above. And this isn't to beat anybody up, but I think this speaks to the mindset of a lot of people, right? This was based upon a video that we did the other day on the channel. You guys want to check it out, where it talks about renters and landlords. But the point is this. She says, LMAO. You guys know what that means. Who's paying $1,500 to move? She's saying, or this person, I'm sorry, he's saying he's moved 3 times and it never cost him more than $500 for movers to pack your own stuff and just let the movers grab it and put it in a truck. I digress, or I disagree with him on that point, but we'll move forward. Here's what it says. The second point is he's saying you're failing to mention when you're renting, the price of rent is the most you'll have to pay compared to when you're buying a home or own a home is the least you'll have to pay. He said when he looked into buying last year, due to the higher rates, he would be paying $2,700 a month and be responsible for all the maintenance and upkeep. Why buy when he can rent a house the same size, the same features and benefits in an equally nice suburb neighborhood for $2,000 to $2,500? And every time or whenever something breaks, he could call the landlord to fix it and not have to worry about the price of repairs. And the last point is saying the lady we were talking, or the lady in the video that I was going over, didn't have the funds if she was complaining about a $20 application fee, so on and so forth. So my point in highlighting this is, first of all, thanks for the pushback, right? Shout out to you. And I love to hear what it is that you guys have to say on this channel. That's what it's about. But I disagree. Just based upon the stuff that I've shown you here in this video, there are a lot of costs that are associated with renting that you don't understand. And here's the key. Those things are going to go up every time your lease renews. Why? Y'all say it with me. It's a business. You see what I'm saying? And so what you don't get when you rent, and you do get when you buy or buying, is the forced savings account aspect. And I know all of you out there are investors now with huge portfolios, but I call BS on that as well, because I look at a wide swath of real people, because I'm a lender. My NMLS license number is 180100, and there ain't no money. You understand what I'm saying? There isn't any money. In fact, let me show you one other thing. You see, I'm not just talking to you. Here's another survey that we conducted on the channel. Shout out to everybody in the community. But the question was, what's preventing you from buying a house? And look at what the number one reason is. I don't have enough saved. So I bring this up because a lot of you guys that want to justify renting, and I do believe there's some case points or there's some scenarios in which renting is a good thing. We'll do another video on that. But for the majority of Americans, you don't have enough money saved. And so when I say I do this on a daily basis, home loan consultations, home loan applications, helping people get onto the housing ladder, the number one thing that we have to overcome or help those folks with, and it's no shame, but they don't have enough money, right? The barrier to entry, one of the largest ones, is having enough for the down payment and closing costs. And we ain't even talking about reserves. So for all you young folks that just caught this YouTube wave in 2020 during the pandemic, now all of a sudden you got all these portfolios. I don't believe you. I don't believe you, respectfully. Hopefully you are investing, but you know what? It takes time. It takes time. And if you guys had what it was that you said you had, the numbers would look completely different. So for those of you that really want to learn and understand how to get onto the purpose, the focus of this video is not to make anybody look bad. The purpose is to show you real world situations to get you to think, right, about your current situation as far as renting is concerned if you are contemplating purchasing a home. The last thing I'll say about the comment that the young man made earlier on the pushback was this. The recurring theme is the maintenance, the maintenance. Well, guess what? When you're renting, you're paying for the maintenance. You just don't see how the costs are coming in. It may not be in the monthly rent, but they're getting you with one of those subscription fees. Facts. Why, guys? Y'all say it with me. Because it's a business. So enough of that. Let's move on and hit these last other areas that I want you guys to focus on to see if you're actually paying more in rent than you realize. Let's check it out.
The biggest scam of all when it comes to rent and rent prices are the fees, and specifically pet fees. What is the point of pet fees? Say hi, potato. But what are the point of pet fees? My apartment in particular, you had to pay $400 upfront as a pet deposit. And then monthly, it's between $20 to $30. I don't know, because I don't pay it because my cats are emotional support animals, so I don't have to pay those fees. I've had to pay them elsewhere. This is my first year having them as emotional support animals, so I've had to pay these fees in the past. And it's like $20 to $30 a month per pet. Some places it's like $40 to $50 a month, which is outrageous. But the kicker is, I read the whole entire lease before I sign it. I read every single line of it, and it clearly states that this money, the pet deposit, okay, hold on to that word, and the pet monthly fee is not going to be used if any damage is left in your apartment from said pets. So what is all that money going to if it's not going to go towards fixing anything that my pet damaged? Isn't that what your security deposit is? Is that it's money that's going to be used if there's any damage left to your apartment, and if there's...
Yeah, let me stop it right there. See, this is why, guys, this is why all of these fees exist. And if you listen to what the young lady is saying, first of all, she reads the whole lease. Why do you think she reads the whole lease? Right? So she could find out how to get over. And that's my opinion, right? Because I've done this a long time. I'm going to say one other thing. It might be controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway, respectfully. You guys are going to make it bad for folks that really have mental issues, that really have disabilities, with all of these things that you use to game the system. Okay. And when those things go away, that's when everybody's going to start crying, or the people that really need the help don't get it. Kind of like Section 8 and a lot of those things, you know, SNAP benefits, so on and so forth. Got a video on the channel on that, and it's starting to come back around. And my point is this: you gotta, if you're able-bodied, you got to get up, get out, and get something. I digress. The reason for the pet fees is your pets cause damage, and it has nothing to do with the deposit. And as you heard her say, isn't it for the damage that my pet is going to cause? So you know your pet is going to cause damage. Let me tell you a story. The last house we lived in, This is a house, right? The neighbors behind us, they let their pet out at night. Well, why do you think that's the case? Well, where is this pet using the bathroom? Well, I had a nice above the ground raised garden. Well, the pet thought my garden was a litter box. So first thing is this, your animal got to use the bathroom. You don't want them using the bathroom in your yard. That's why you let them out at night and try to play dumb. And see, this causes a cascading effect to where it looks like I'm tripping because I like nice stuff. No, you're tripping. Just like she's tripping. That's why pet deposits are mandatory. Okay. Let me guys show you something. I did a little research in the community that I'm in, but let me show you a little research that I did on this apartment complex that I checked out. Check it out. So I'm going to just do the voiceover on this one. But as you can see, that nice apartment complex that I showed you earlier in the video required refundable deposits, $500 to $1,000 based on your credit deposit due upon approval. So whole nother video there, but here's the deal. Monthly extras, residential service fees, $115, mandatory. That's some of the stuff that we went over earlier. Internet, right? Renter's insurance, pest control, valet, the trash, okay? Picking up the trash. That's an extra $115 that you got to pay. Then you paying your own utilities, water and lights. That's on you, okay? I already mentioned the internet is provided by the community. It's in this fee here, right? And so as you move forward, if you want to park, if you don't want to get wet, things of that nature, have a carport, it's $50. If you want a garage, it's $150 to $175 a month, okay? And then you got the non-refundable pet fee. That's what she's talking about, $400 per pet, 2 pets maximum. You're not getting that back. Then they got to do a $35 a month rental fee for the pet. Why? Because pets cause damage. Urine stains, hair, that smell, all of that. You feel me? You got to take care of those things and it costs money. Okay. Then before any of this happens, you feel what I'm saying? They still have to have an interview with your cat or your dog to see if they're going to get along in the neighborhood. Like I said, maximum 2 pets minimum, right? And you can't have any aggressive breeds. All y'all with why we need insurance, that's why. Because you want to have pit bulls and mastiffs and all that kind of, no, sir, no, ma'am. Not going to happen. Not going to get sued, right? Like you said, pet screening required. And then there's a $30 fee per pet screening. So I keep trying to tell you guys, hold on, let me get back on the screen. What is it, guys? It's a business. And renting ain't cheaper. And if you got some pets, you're going to have to pay to stay. That's what it is. If you guys don't agree, disagree, get down in the comment section and let me know. But here's the deal. All of you rent warriors, they got all of this stuff that you want to say. Don't nobody care, man. If you can pay and your credit is good and you can meet the terms and you can stay, that's their property. They built that property, you didn't. Like Bobby said, right, Fred? You got to get your own to call the shots. That's why I'm talking to those of you that say, you know what? You're right, Rob, Mr. Rob, whatever you call me. You're right. I'm seeing what you're saying. It is costing me a lot more and I'm consuming these things, but 3-5 years down the line, what do I have to show for it? That's who I'm talking to. I'm trying to get you guys to see what's going on. Let's continue.
Question, Las Vegas, and anybody else who wants to answer. Are rental lease renewal fees common? I had never heard of such a thing. And, I've been renting this house and my lease is up and they sent me the lease renewal, raising the rent $25 and also telling me that there will be a $300 lease renewal fee, which in essence is really increasing my rent by $50 a month, but they want $300 up front. And it's just frustrating because the greed of these corporations and all these junk fees is just ridiculous. With gas prices so high, these rental prices high, groceries, and then so next month I'm going to have to pay my rent plus this $300 fee, it's making me understand why a lot of people are choosing to be unhoused and live in their car on purpose. You know, like a lot of people, I had some debt. I could live in my car and pay things off quicker if I wasn't so high maintenance and concerned about my safety as a single woman. But boy, I tell you, Vegas and the junk fees. But let me know, is this common in Vegas and in other places? I need some feedback. But I tell you, man, it just makes you just have to work harder and harder and harder.
So don't want to see anybody have to live in their car or be in situations that are unsafe. Let me say that up front. But it's common. And here's the deal. Notice the mindset and the response to all these people. It's illegal. Nobody's making you stay there. You said it yourself. You're high maintenance. You like a lot of things, but you don't want the responsibility. Look at it globally, guys. And I mean this seriously. A lot of us have to wake up. When I say you're on the race to the bottom, everybody's trying to find a place in the world where you can get the most for nothing. And that doesn't exist. More so today than ever because of the global connectivity, right? This internet. You understand what I'm saying? And so if you have the mindset that I'm just going to take, and I don't want to invest anything, you're going to be in trouble coming forward. Because you got folks that are willing to come and take your place. If you don't believe me, look around, especially in this community, right? You have folks that have come here, that have been here 30, 40, 50 years, and they've surpassed a lot of us in home ownership specifically. And they're able to call the shots. He that has the goal makes the rule. We are in this perpetual go on vacation, kick it, line dance, all that kind of stuff, and you don't want any responsibility. Well, what happens is you fall into situations like that. But it is common to have to pay at a lease renewal. And if you heard what she says, very intelligent because she picked it up. That $300 is in essence a $50 increase on the rent, and they getting that up front. So they playing 3-card Monty with you. Oh, my rent hadn't gone up. No, it hadn't. But all these mandatory subscription fees are hitting you in the head. Facts. Now, for all of you rent warriors out there, am I off? Or does the old man have a point? Or do you even know? Maybe you should get your lease out and start looking into it, because landlords, like a lot of you guys, they congregate. They have conferences and things of that nature. What you think they doing when they go to those places? How do we increase our rent? How do we run this thing more efficiently? Because we have a captive audience. Young folks, wake up. Wake up. You got to invest in something. You got to participate in order to get what it is that you want. What you see right now is a setup, just like that PPP loan. It looks sweet, right? Did you see them people? 52,000 people. And a lot of them came through my office. Y'all know who you is, right? You guys know who you are. Let me speak the King's English, right? So none of you guys get on there and try to correct me. You know who you are. And right now you're tight. You don't know, but they coming, because sin only lasts for a season. It's better to own, manage, control what you can control, but that requires your participation. Let's continue.
You need a co-signer for an apartment. I don't care what the reason is, but you know you need one. Stay right here, okay? If you know you're going to need help with that security deposit, stay right here. If you know that possibly after you get to the apartment, you're going to probably need help to keep your rent paid, okay, on time, on the first of every month. I'm going to say it louder for the people in the back. If you know you need a co-signer for an apartment, I don't care what the reason is, but you know you need one, stay right here, okay? If you know you're going to need help with that security deposit, stay right here. If you know that possibly after you get to this apartment, you're going to probably need help to keep your rent paid, okay, on time, on the first of every month, stay right here. And if you might feel like you probably need somebody to help make sure that your utilities get paid on time too, and you can repay them back in the installment payments throughout the month as well, stay right here. I'm about to put y'all on to the best companies out here on the market today. When I say these people are literally co-signing for you for an apartment, these people are literally pay your security deposit and you can pay them back in installment payments. These people will literally make sure your rent get paid upfront in full, your utilities, your cell phone bill, all that. And you can pay them back in installment payments throughout the month. And there's also a company out here who will give you a cash advance loan, even if you have bad credit, because they don't do a credit check. Are you shitting me? Where was this when I was like in my 20s?
So we're going to wrap it up with that, man. There's even landlords out here that will solve your problem, your character problem, bad credit, no security deposit, no money to pay the rent. There's somebody out here to solve that problem for you. But guess what? It costs money because it's a business. So I think I laid out the case. Where have I missed it? Am I being too harsh? Am I telling the truth? Do you see where I'm coming from? If you're someone that's on the sideline, on the fence about becoming a homeowner, I'm laying out the case for you to go back and consider the full matter of renting with this caveat. After renting X amount of years, what do I have to show for it? Other than some memories. And last I checked, your older self, you can't spend the memories. You got to have some money. You have to have some assets that you could cash in or rent to some of these other folks that are complaining. Because he that has the gold makes the rules. Now, if I haven't offended you and you're still here, shout out to you. I appreciate it. Couple of things. Like the channel and subscribe. I appreciate it in advance. Headed towards 50,000 subscribers. That's the goal. But I believe if we continue to educate, we'll reach it. If you want to get onto the property ladder and you don't know the next step to take, I got you. Let's have a conversation. Schedule a consultation, a free 15-minute consultation with me. You can do so by clicking the link in the top pinned comment or in the description of this video so I can hear what it is that you want to achieve as far as becoming a homeowner, either the first time or subsequent, or even pulling out some equity from a home that you currently have to better your situation. Love to listen to what that is, to see if there's a fit, and if there is, I could give you the steps on how we make the most next important step. For those of you that aren't ready, I want you to continue watching and educating yourself, because an educated borrower is the best kind. Why? Because you know before you owe. So watch these videos, educate yourself, and everyone else, continue to stay blessed, let grace abound, and we'll talk to you soon. Indeed. Y'all stay blessed.